What's up, everybody? I'm just going to do a quick video on the Ford F250 Tremor package. It is a Lariat. Just kind of doing a short video on some of the features of the truck itself, some of the things that I thought were useful, and maybe some other people will as well. I didn't know it had some of these features when I got the truck, so just figured I would do a quick little video, kind of share with everybody, and just so you can find out a little bit more about the truck. Because, you know, at the dealership, they don't always go over everything with you. Even if they're great salespeople, sometimes they don't know all the ins and outs. And there are some really nice features on the truck. All right, so here's a look at the front of the truck. So obviously you can see it is the F250, it does have the Tremor package. Now this one does have the optional Blackout package. So the standard Tremor is actually gonna have like chrome on it, and the wheels are gonna be a little bit different. This one, being the Blackout package, does actually have like a black Ford badge. You know, it's got the black kind of like piano finish all around the surroundings, all the moldings, trim pieces, that kind of thing. And then actually what's kind of a unique thing too is the Tremor is actually grayed out versus that orange color. I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a orange hue from the reflection of my shirt. But, you know, and then also, you know, carries over, they got the black Ford emblem in the back as well. So, you know, nice little touches that they've added to it, you know, whenever you get the Blackout package. You know, I kind of preferred the Blackout package versus just the chrome look, you know, and even the mirrors are blacked out and everything as well. So initially this was not my first color choice. I was hoping to get a black one, but ultimately worked out with this one, and I'm glad that I went with the white now, just because I'm in and out of the dirt a lot, you know, and the white is not the most forgiving, but definitely more forgiving than black. So when you get into the truck, you'll notice that, you know, the Tremor does actually have like the Raptor style running boards, you know, and they say Ford on them as well. When you open up the door, nice big platform that you can get into. And obviously I've got a few miles on this truck. I put about close to 3,000 miles on it. We'll see here in a second. But you know, so this is the Lariat package, and what comes standard in it, you know, it's going to have the power seating. It's got the memory seating up here. Does have like the telescopic, you know, in and out mirrors, that kind of thing. And then you also do have the automatic fold away feature, which is kind of nice. And there is actually a setting in there that I'll go over whenever you get into like the preferences of the truck. You can actually, whenever you lock the truck, you can set those mirrors up to where they automatically fold in. So it's a nice little safety thing, so you're not knocking your shoulder, your head against them when you're getting in and out of the truck once you lock it up. And then also for any of those tight parking spots, it's going to keep somebody from, you know, taking out your mirror, doing some damage. So and here's a look at, you know, like I said, I've got the window sticker on the back, so let me grab that real quick. So hopefully you guys can see everything on here okay. So as you can see here, you know, it's the preferred equipment package. You know, this does have the 7.3. That is actually standard on the Tremor. They don't put the 6.8 in there. You know, it's got the 430 locking axle. This does have the black appearance package, which ends up being, you know, $4,300 option, but it's got the wheel well liners in it, the spray and bed liner, and then you know, then also there's a $4,500 charge for the Tremor package. So that comes with the 35-inch off-road tires, or 285 70R 18s. It's got skid plates, you know, matching aluminum wheels. It does have the, you know, 10,300 gross vehicle weight package. This does have the upfitter switches, which they put them right up there. So, and there's actually a really easy spot to get to them under the hood. So if you did want to, you know, put some accessory lights and that kind of thing on there. And then this just has the, you know, 64, well, it's got the 40/40 seats with a center console. So it's not a bench, it does have a center console. As you can see, you know, with destination and everything, the MSRP on this is $76,375. Obviously, you know, this is a 2025. I got a pretty good deal on it. You know, deals always change, you know, but this just kind of gives you, you know, what the base price is, MSRP, all the standard equipment on there. So when looking at the truck, you know, there are a lot of nice features that come with it. You know, being a Lariat, and I think it's a lot of the XLTs come with this, but it's got like the, you know, automatic windshield wipers on there. This does have the full digital gauge cluster, and I think most Ford F250s have gone to that, even starting at the XL. And then this, you have the 13-inch main screen, I guess, if you want to call it. But it's a really nice system. As you can see, my phone was hooked up to it, with the Apple CarPlay, and that works pretty seamlessly. As soon as you get in, it finds it. You can set up multiple phones, that kind of thing. So, but here's just like the normal radio kind of thing. So you have CarPlay, so whatever apps you have downloaded there. Sorry, I listened to, let's see, my collection. Oh, here. So that takes you to like the main screen there, and then you go between the different apps and that kind of thing. So, it does have a navigation screen. I like using Waze with Apple CarPlay. It's kind of nice. You can add favorites. Here's again the apps, and then settings. So you got radio, phone list, all that normal kind of stuff. Vehicle, I'm thinking this is where, you can set up some nice little things. So 30-minute max idle, that's what I have it set at. You can turn that on or off. Key detection alert, which is kind of nice. So if you happen to leave your key in the vehicle, it's going to honk at you and let you know, hey, key's still in there. Rear occupant alert, I do like that. That's a nice little safety thing, because it notices if somebody's in the back seat, so if you have a car seat, a kid, or anything, just one more thing just to make you aware that there's somebody back there, there's something back there. Easy entry, exit. Now, this is really nice. I have that turned on, so what happens is whenever I turn off the truck, open the door, the seat slides back away from the steering wheel, makes it nice to get in and out of. It's not something that gets set up, standard from the factory, so that's something that was nice to me. Remote start setup, you can set it up to, have the climate controls on auto, seats and steering wheel. That's for like heated and cooled. It just remembers whatever you last had it set at, and then how long you can set up the remote start. Windows, let's see here, I'm not even sure. Okay, so there is a way to do a remote open with the windows. I don't remember the exact sequence, but it's like you have to hit lock and unlock and hold lock down or something, and then the windows will roll down. So I'm sure there's some videos on that. I might actually do a video on that as well, just as a nice little feature. Lighting, auto high beams, daytime running lights, welcome lighting. So the welcome lighting is if you have your key on you and you come up to walk up to the vehicle, it turns all the exterior lights on the truck, so you can actually see around the truck. And then the auto headlamp delay is set for 20 seconds, unless you hit lock, and then it'll automatically turn the headlights off whenever you leave the vehicle. Mirrors. So this is where I was talking about the auto fold. This does not come set up from the factory this way. So when you select that item, that just means that whenever you lock the truck, it's going to automatically fold the mirrors in. So nice little feature there. And we'll go back. General, this language, temperature, tire pressure, it's all those kind of things. I'm trying to think where I found. Okay, so that's good for me. And then what was the other thing? So obviously you get your sound, and then there are some other settings. So, and then you got features here. So driver assistance, towing, owner's manual, and but what's nice about this owner's manual, it's built into all the newer trucks. So if you have an issue of what a torque spec is for a wheel or tire, you can just type it in there and it'll actually take you to that. So really handy, versus having to dig through your owner's manual trying to find it a quick little way. And then, they do have some videos for some things. I actually used this when I was setting up my garage door opener, because it does have like what I guess they consider like a home link or whatever. And it was very thorough. It took me all the steps, and mine, of course, was one where I had already had a clicker, had to program the clicker first, then had to hit learn on the garage door opener to get it to learn, and right after that worked flawlessly. It's been working great since. So, and you can program up to 3 different garage door openers or openers like that. I know some people have gates and things that you can probably sync that up to. Doesn't apply in my scenario. So they're just back to CarPlay. So this, being a Lariat, it's going to have the, heated and cooled seats, dual climate controls. One thing that's interesting is I had a 2022 F150, and all my camera and hazards and everything used to be up here. So now this is just the trail control speed feature is what they call it, I believe, for like, or downhill assist control. So you can actually, if you're off-roading, going down a hill, you click that button, you kind of set the speed, and you know, use the cruise control buttons over here, and that'll adjust your speed, and it'll just kind of crawl you down the hill. But all these camera buttons and hazards and everything used to be up here. For whatever reason, they moved it down here. So this one, you know, does have the 360 view camera on it, which is nice. And then you have the way to go and select other different camera views if you want. You know, it's pretty handy. This is down both sides of the truck. So there's a lot of different camera angles. So it's pretty amazing. This is a wide view in the front, so you see all the way to the side and everything. So a lot of cool features. I'm gonna put that back there. And then just hit camera button, it kind of takes you back. Traction control, you know, so that's for your hazards. That's traction control. When you click it once, traction control off. If you press it and hold it down, that'll turn advanced track off. Now there is some way to activate some kind of sport mode or something with this. Haven't really messed with that too much, but basically that'll let you do 2-tire burnouts, that kind of thing, and it kind of tells you where it's shut off down there. And then also there's just your other standard controls there. The other thing here, so you do have like your trailer brake controller that's just built in with the package. There was no special option for that. Being 4-wheel drive, you know, you can hit 4 high. It does have the locker in it, rear locker in it. What's nice about the Tremor is it actually has a limited slip front rear end in it, which is specific to the Tremor. But obviously you do have the locking hubs where you can manually lock it in. And then you also have 4 low, but you have to be in neutral for that. But one little thing about this dial here, this is your drive mode select, and you can also click this to lock the axle. So you can either click this button or this button, that'll actually lock in the rear axle. But drive modes, whenever you turn this knob, so we'll start all the way to one way. So you turn the dial left, that takes you all the way left. That's eco mode. And you know, some people, you know, say you can get another mile, you know, 1 or 2 mpgs, you know, using that mode. It does shift a little sooner. It doesn't downshift as frequent, so you're kind of using the brakes more, so it's kind of a little bit of a trade-off. But I could see where, you know, would be some savings in some applications. Next, you go to tow haul mode, so you just turn the little dial to the right. I really like this screen because, you know, you got the trailer brake information. You can actually configure this screen a little bit differently as well, but I like how like the RPMs are up here, so it kind of shows your load as if you were pulling something. And then, you know, you can put your fuel economy there or whatever, but looks really slick. And I kind of like how the RPM's up there. And then once you get your trailers, you know, set up, there's a whole process for that. I haven't messed with some of these other modes yet. So that's just normal mode, slippery. So it's going to try to shift in 4 high. It's probably going to start out in the lower gear and, you know, really activate the traction control. You also have off-road. So what's kind of cool about this is, I mean, check out that gauge cluster. I mean, that's just amazing how it pulls all that stuff up. You know, tells you basically your pitch and everything, what kind of angle the vehicle's at, and it tells you what direction the steering wheels are pointed at. And it also goes as far as when you're off-road, it'll show you on your front camera. It automatically pulled this camera up when you go in off-road mode. So it's letting you see what's in front of you. And then as you turn the wheel, you know, it actually turns that as well. So pretty slick. Like, I don't even know how they do some of this stuff. And then you'll see here, I'm going the wrong way. And then you've got rock crawl mode. So again, I would have to shift into 4 low to get it into crawl mode. Well, let's just go ahead and do it. It's wanting me to do it. So So that's the first I've actually put in there, and it automatically locks the rear axle. This thing has 430 gears, and I don't know what the transfer case is, but I'm sure it's super low. But then again, you know, it's got those cool little gauges, you know, for your pitch and what angle you're at. It's got a compass on there. I'm sure there's other ways to configure this. This is how it kind of comes up, and then it's also got, you know, this as well. So really cool. Let's see, and that's it. So that's all the different options there. I am gonna go back to normal mode. I'm so backwards, it feels like, on this. Okay. So I said okay. All right, we're back in too high, so I'll put it back in park. All right, so went over a lot of the stuff with the truck. There's a better look at those auxiliary switches. Hopefully it comes in okay. You know, you do have like the double glove boxes here. Like I said, I've already been living in this truck, so don't hold that against me. But, you know, really nice features there. Some people are just dying about this cup holder. So really, it has two cup holders, a little tray. You can slide this over, and now you can fit like your bigger, you know, Yeti cups and that kind of thing. You actually have room for 4 cup holders here, and there's 2 right there as well. They also have some in the doors, and then you know, in the back there's some in the doors, and then the little center console flips down as well. So I may get to that here in a second, but I want to go over this. And I apologize for a long video, but there is a lot to go over on these trucks, and I think it, you know, I kind of went through this trial by fire, you know, just to try to figure it out. But when you go to your main screen, you can let's see here, you can go to settings. So if you configure your gauges, show selectable gauges, you can swap gauge position, and then you can, you know, select where you want those to go. Neutral toe, that'd have to be more things. But if you go in here to gauges, so temperature gauges, this is kind of cool. It kind of shows you there. Let's see here. All right, well, instant settings. So there is an actual way, and I'm not sure. Okay, so I don't know if you saw I went there. So I'm in settings, all right? Go to settings, go to configure gauges, and then temperature gauge option, which is nice. You can do standard or detailed. So what the detailed is gonna do, it's actually gonna put a number there. You know, it's nice to actually have like a physical reading for the temperatures. Now, obviously oil pressure, it's not, because that's not a temperature, but for the other temperatures, it's actually gonna have a detailed number there. So I'll just show you what standard looks like. So there's standard, see how the numbers went away? Go to detailed, then they pop up. So there's a lot of different ways to configure this, but that I thought I would rather have the number in there just to kind of know what number everything's, you know, sitting at. So we'll go back to my view. And then again, you can configure what all you want under for your my view. This is just kind of what I had set up. So if you go down here, configure my view, and then it'll let you select the different pages. It won't let you select all of them, but you have like 7 or 8 that you can play around with. So that's kind of a look at the front of the truck, and the interior, kind of going over some of the options. Oh, they all do come standard with a wireless charger, which is kind of nice. Does have a regular USB and the micro USB. You do have this little thing here where you can also, you know, kind of tuck everything out of the way. You got a big center console here as well. There's a little tray there. So yeah, that's it for the front. I'm going to go over some cool features in the back as well. All right, so here's a look at the back seat of the Ford F250 Tremor. So this is all stuff that came standard. Now, I did buy some all-weather mats. These are actually Rough Country. Got them for a great deal on Amazon, and they fit perfect. And they're kind of a thicker rubber, which I kind of like. There's a million different types of all-weather mats you can get, but I just like the way that these ones look, and they got a nice big lip on them. So it seems like it's going to be a great fit. Being a Lariat, it does have the heated second row seats, you know, for the passengers back here. You have your two USBs, micro USBs, and then you also have a power outlet back here. My kids have already tried to wear that thing out because every time we're going somewhere, they got some in here. Now, what's cool is these seats can actually, I don't think my F-150 did this. Maybe it did, and I just never really knew about it. But you actually have a way to get to the back seat here. Now you can't get to the back of the other side. If you'll notice, there's actual powered subwoofer back there. You know, that just comes standard with the kit itself, with this package, and it's got great sound. But that also lets you get to your jack back here. So if you're looking for that, and then you do have, so you can flip this seat up, and it comes with these storage boxes that are kind of standard here. Now, to unlock them, you just got to slide this thing over, and they fold in on both sides. And then that'll fold flat if you want a whole flat area. I like the idea of having this back here because, you know, you get groceries or whatever else, and it keeps them from rolling around, you know, in the truck, and then, you know, that kind of thing. But one thing that's really cool is, I mean, these are pretty sturdy here. I mean, you know, it is plastic, but it's pretty sturdy. And one thing is, when this seat's down, you actually have the ability to lock whatever's down there. So if you did have, you know, something you didn't want somebody getting into, you know, anything, you know, of value to you, you could actually lock it away there. So how you do that is they give you this cute little accessory key. Now, it is actually the same key that whenever you push I can't really do it. So it's actually the same key that's in here, but they just give it to you just to have as an extra. So you can lock your glove box, center console, but also you can lock and unlock the seat. So you put this key in here, turn it towards, well, okay, so now it's locked, right? So now I can't physically get into this area down here. Isn't that slick? So there's no way, no matter what I pull on, there is no way for me to get to that little storage area there. So thought that was really cool feature. So now you unlock it and you have easy access again. So just some cool features that I thought were interesting on the, you know, F250 Tremor, you know, Lariat package. A lot of little surprises for me, but super happy with the truck. You know, like I said, it wasn't originally my first color choice, but I'm kind of falling in love with it. And then obviously it's got the 7.3 Godzilla. Everything's warmed up, so it's quiet now. So there may be some changes done to the exhaust. We'll soon find out, and I'll share those videos if I get those. All right, everybody, if you're still tuning in, I want to thank you for watching the video. There'll probably be more follow-up videos to come. Please like and subscribe, you know, click the bell for notifications. You know, I plan on having this truck a long time. You know, these trucks cost a lot of money. So there's a lot to consider when getting a new truck. But overall, I'm super happy with everything on the truck. There were some surprises that I was pleasantly surprised with. And hopefully, you know, you found this video informational, hopefully for you as well. And maybe might help you make your decision on buying a truck. You know, just some things to look at. So again, thank you for your time. Have a great day.